for your money. Between the pandemic and the upcoming election, there's a lot of economic uncertainty right now.
It certainly is. And News 3 anchor Todd Carilla spoke with our financial expert, Carl Carlson, about how asset allocation might help you plan for it all.
Asset allocation, which I think is probably the number one most important thing to a successful retirement, is getting your assets allocated correctly. It's also the number one most successful thing to saving and getting positioned for retirement and all that. So asset allocation is basically how much of your money should be in safe stuff, how much of your money should be in risky stuff, and how much in between. And the key is getting those percentages right.
So how do you figure all of that out?
So the first place to start is what's called an income plan. So that's where you're figuring out, if you're still working, how many more years do I need to work based on how much money I'm making, how much I'm spending, how much I'm saving. And then if you're getting close to, or if you're retired, how do I make sure my money lasts as long as I do so I don't spend too much? And do I have my assets growing enough to get me all the way to 90 or 100 years old? So that's all about the income plan. And it's not easy because it's different for every single person, Todd.
And how does someone figure out what their income plan should look like?
So I'd say number one, you do need to find a professional that does income building, that understands how to build that income plan for you. And then once you've found that, they will start to put together all those numbers, inflation, everything that needs to be figured into the income plan. And then based on that, that will end up telling you, okay, this percentage of my money should be in safe investments, this percentage should be in risky investments, and this percentage should be somewhere in between. So now you're at the place where you can have figured out how much of my investments should be in the stock market.
And how does the asset allocation and this income plan come into play with uncertainty that comes from an event like the election that is now 1 week away?
Right. So now once you've figured out those dynamics, and now you know how much should you have in the stock market, that's the risky part. Now you have to look at, now what do I do with that? And what do I purchase? So when it comes to something like an election, I think you're best off with your investments to figure out which investments will do best or will do good no matter who wins the elections.
And Carlson is telling folks to figure out your asset allocation now and get it set up so you are well positioned no matter who wins the election.